the bags again for another trip. I'm off to Prague this afternoon. Packing for flying, EasyJet. So clearly I've got some problems about what I can take and what I can't. And my landscape camera bag is just too big and bulky for flying. So chopping and changing, making priorities, but I'm looking forward to a few days in Prague. It's my first morning here in Prague. Got here late last night. I need to reacquaint myself with the city, and that's my first priority this morning. But this first session, I just thought I'd give it a go heading down to the river and the Charles Bridge. Seems like a good place to start to me. It's strange being back. I thought it was just a few years. Now I did the calculations and it's 16 years since I last was here. My third time here in Prague. I came here for the very first time in 1989 when it was a very, very different place then, of course, just after the Velvet Revolution. But what a view, what a place, one of Europe's most beautiful cities, surely. You can probably hear the wind noise. It's bitterly cold here on the bridge early this morning. But I'm really gratified to see that there's no major building work going up on the skyline here, looking across towards the castle district. So it's looking good. So my thoughts for this morning, maybe, just maybe, looking back, that classic view looking down the Charles Bridge, I'll get some early morning interest looking into the light with all those spires on the bridge. Well, I'm set up here, but I just don't think this shot's going to work. Without any cloud in the sky, there's going to be no sort of interest. The sun is coming up over there this time of year. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go down on the riverbank. Oh, let's go in here. Down on the riverbank down here and hope to get some of that first light on the scene looking back towards this way. Castle up there and the first light of the day on there. So I'm set up now with the castle and the Charles Bridge behind me, and it's looking much more positive than it was on the bridge. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. There's a fair bit of wind about, and also the noise of the river down there. But this is looking quite good. When I've been here at other times of the year, it's been in the spring, but this time of year the sun's coming up over there. You can see it just pinking up the sky there. So what I'm hoping is, looking this way, that the castle district and the Charles Bridge will get that first morning light. Unfortunately there's no cloud in the sky, but I think this is my best option for the first morning. I've been having some fun working with the birds here and the first light on the castle in the background. Maybe it's worked. No cloud in the sky, but not a bad session to kick off with anyways. Bitterly cold with the wind coming off the water though. It's about 2 weeks till Christmas and Prague is looking its absolute best, it has to be said. There's a Christmas market running here in the Old Town Square, and now here on my first morning I've got to get out and really plan my shoots more meticulously. One thing I've noticed in my travels around the world, wherever you go, there's always an Irish bar. All of this crowd has gathered to see a clock chime in. I suppose I ought to see what the big deal is. My big challenge at the moment is trying to resist these sausages. Here in the old square, there's quite an atmosphere going. Pre-Christmas, it's great, really. It's the afternoon of my first day in Prague, and I've met up with fellow Canon explorer and professional photographer, Czech photographer Lucy Debulkova here in Prague. And Lucy,
hello,
is showing me around Prague this afternoon. So Lucy, tell me, you come from such a beautiful city. Do you still get out photographing Prague much?
Well, obviously I don't live in Prague anymore, but when I am here in Prague, I always try to go out because I find it very beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and it's always a pleasure to come back and be surrounded by this.
Classic, isn't it? So tell me, what time of year do you think is best here in Prague?
I think it's actually good to come now, but if you're more lucky, you will get more snow, which is great. Now it's lovely because there are the Christmas markets and the atmosphere and the singing and the lights is much more nice. But then my favorite is autumn or spring. Summer is just too busy with the tourists, so that's too much.
All the guides I looked at, they said spring's the best time in Prague.
Yeah. Autumn as well. I mean, it depends again, on what kind of weather you get. But don't come in summer because it's just too crowded and it can be a little bit too warm. But autumn is nice.
What's your favorite place here in Prague?
Favorite place in Prague? Well, here really around the Charles Bridge. I like, to sit in different restaurants around here, look at the Prague Castle. My favorite time is to come during the twilight, when the light is changing and when the city lights, go on, and it's just beautiful, magic atmosphere. And then walk through little streets in the old town. That's what I love the most.
It's a beautifully lit city, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Unfortunately, only till midnight. No lights in the morning for the photos.
Okay, one more question. Living abroad as you do, what do you miss most about Prague? And
I think the Asian thing that is around you, because I live in Kuwait and it's very new, so there is nothing old there, so to kind of have this old architecture all around me and the centuries of history, I think that's what I kind of miss.
Yeah.
And the river and the old city, that's my favorite part.
This morning, come back to do a night shot. Classic view, one of Europe's best, really. Such a beautiful city, so well illuminated. And of course, I'm here just at that moment when the balance between the last ambient light in the sky balances perfectly with those gorgeous floodlit illuminations on the Charles Bridge and the castle. So I'm going to get on with the shot. First thing in the morning here in the Old Town Square, and there's been a smattering of snow overnight. Not much, but just enough to coat the pavements and the roofs, and I've had a particularly good session here. been a particularly good morning for using a shift lens. I always knew that here in Prague they'd really come into their own, the 24 and the 17, and so it has been. My second day here in Prague, and had a good morning. A bit of snow this morning in the old town square, a real treat, and I had a good session just now photographing the swans and the river with the Charles Bridge in the background. It's Saturday, so it's busy here in Prague, and the Charles Bridge is chock-a-block with people, as you can see in the background here. But it's very atmospheric, and I'm pretty pleased. I've got all my locations sorted really for the rest of the trip, so I'm just going to get on and do them. A lot of them are crowded into that magic time when the lights are coming on, late afternoon, but that's just the way it's going to be. But having said that, the winter light is quite atmospheric now, so I'm always open for whatever opportunities may come along. Came up here yesterday and checked out this viewpoint, and now we've made special arrangement to be on this viewpoint with the old town square beneath. Fabulous location, perfect timing, wonderful lighting. I'm very, very pleased. One of the advantages of using live view is you can compose pictures up above your head. Also, another advantage of using a decent tripod that can go up really high, so I don't have problems with the tiling in my foreground. Had to work very quickly because we only have half an hour up here. We've made special arrangement to be here, but a fabulous situation and a wonderful view down on the square there. So I'm very chuffed. I'm walking across a completely deserted Charles Bridge, 6:30 in the morning, and unfortunately the lights up on the castle over there, they put them off at midnight, so that's not an option for the morning. You think of how this place is in the middle of the day, you can barely jostle your way across. The weather's changed, it's much milder now, unfortunately. Haven't got that crisp light, but there's been a smattering of rain, a bit of drizzle, and the pavements are all wet. So I'm hoping that looking back this way towards the wonderful towers, I'm going to get a bit of sheen off the bridge, off the paving stones, and maybe just a touch of colour in that twilight sky in about half an hour. It's just wonderful what part of this game is these early morning sessions where you got the place to yourself. I mean, I'm the only person on the Charles Bridge, and whether I get a picture or not this morning, it is a special experience. You know, to see these places so devoid of hundreds, thousands of other tourists. Getting out of bed isn't always the easiest, but I just live for these early morning patrols, really. It's what we do, isn't it? I'm here early, but that's just as well. It's always better to be here early, ready and set up, and then wait for the light. I think probably about half an hour when the first tinge of twilight starts seeping through the sky, balancing with the lights along the bridge. That'll be my decisive moment. I'm very pleased with how this shot's working. There's a lovely balance between the lights still on the bridge and that twilight sky. It's coming together well. Well, the lights have just gone off on the bridge here, so that's it, game over. But there was a lovely subtlety to the light with the shiny pavements. I'm quite pleased. I'm pretty sure I've got something worthwhile this morning. And it's been a great way to spend a Sunday morning. It's a grey, fairly dismal day here in Prague now. But I'm out scouting my location for this evening. And I've never been up here before. And although this scene doesn't look that great in this kind of light, I'm just thinking tonight, all illuminated, it could be transformed. My evening sessions when the lights come on are precious, so it's really a case of trying to weigh up what's going to work the best. And inherently I keep on being drawn back to the Charles Bridge, but I want to try something different, and I've not done this before, and I think it's got to be worth a go. The shutter's open at the moment with a 1.5 minute exposure using the big stopper filter there, with lovely winter side lighting on the scene here. One real advantage of being here this time of year is that I get this great side lighting in the mid-afternoon on this classic view. Third time I've shot from here, but when you've got a good location, it's always worth working it to death. Well, this shot's worked very well indeed. There was some gorgeous pink light in the sky just around sunset, and now the shot's coming to me nicely. Really, I couldn't have asked for better this evening. Shooting with pretty long lens perspective, boats moving around on the river have caused me problems, but that's all part of the scene really. Day today, really full day, but probably the best day photographically, I think. So I'm well chuffed. It's often the way that you get into a place and it comes after a few days, the best pictures come, and that's definitely been the case today. Really come together. The morning session worked well, then that afternoon session using the light on the castle district, long exposure, and then finally the view from the hill looking down on the river with all the bridges. So last day tomorrow, and I've got to decide what I'm going to do for my morning and evening session. But you got to follow your heart, you got to follow your instincts and your inspiration, and I'm afraid that means going back to the river. For me, it's where it all happens in Prague. Here I am again on the Charles Bridge at dawn. Wet pavements again. I've come back. I just feel there's more to do here. So today I'm going to be working with a longer lens perspective. Again, totally deserted. Hanging around on the Charles Bridge again, waiting for a bit of light in the sky. Spotting with rain now. I'm always worried in these situations that I'm going to get here and there's going to be someone set up with a tripod in my shot, but surprisingly and luckily that hasn't happened either yesterday or today. I'm just hoping this rain won't become too much of a problem. Well, just as I said that, someone's come along and set up right over there in my shot. I've gone over and said, just walked right past me, set up the tripod in my picture. Absolutely incredible. I would never dream of doing that. It's my last session here in Prague, fly home tonight, and I've got up on top of this tower and I can see from here along the Charles Bridge towards the castle district. So that's a pretty epic view, and one I'd be very happy to finish with. So I'm just waiting now for the lights to come on, probably about half an hour, and that'll be my decisive moment. Lights are just coming on the castle over there. Now I'm waiting for them to come on the bridge here. I always get sort of slightly tense at moments like this because I expect someone to come along and tell me no tripods allowed just when the light is coming good. Amazingly, I'm alone up here. I had visions of getting up here and there'd be a row of tripods and no space, but quite a treat really. A great way to finish the trip. The lights on the bridge seem very late in coming on, but maybe that's just because I'm impatient. Well, that pretty much finishes my trip to Prague, and it's been an intensive 4 days of photography, but great fun.